Okay, I think we can slowly get started, also because we have a lot of speakers today, a lot of interesting insights, so better to make the most out of it. Emir, if you agree and you're connected.
Yes. We can start. I'm sorry, I had some problems with my connection here in the office. I don't know why. So I tried to resolve this issue.
Okay, no problem. We're good and on track. Thanks for your patience to all participants. So yeah, welcome back to our third webinar series, and actually the last episode, at least for now. Let's see how things will develop also following on our insights and discussions today. For those who don't know me or haven't met, I'm Annalisa Vallone and I'm International Development Coordinator for Cooperatives Europe, in charge of COPS for Dev, a project that aims at strengthening the European cooperative movement and the role of cooperative entrepreneurship globally. Joining me today is Emir Koric from ALDA Balkans, and I let him also the time to properly introduce himself and ALDA. Just for today, it's the third webinar. It will look a little bit of practical insights, but we also have the opportunity to hear stories from the Balkans, institutional perspective through the UN work of the Food and Agriculture Organization, but also a youth perspective through our young representative from our young network. Just to give you an idea of our agenda, we're going to quickly just set the scene and do a recap of our series, what we've been discussing about, with a small icebreaker, because we always want to get to know our audience as well. As multiply said, this is an open space and also an opportunity to share insights, also learning from the audience. And then following our speaker's intervention, we will have a discussion moment and reaction, following by some next steps. So very quickly, how we came up with this Monday talk was thanks to collaboration with ALDA, which is a European Association of Local Democratic Agencies, with whom we share a commitment to civic engagement and active participation in all economic and social spheres. And we kind of put together the idea of a democratic economy, let's say, blending our approaches to do that. And the idea was to also relaunch and spread and also uncover, in a way, the cooperative dialogue in the Balkans, because it exists, and there are also some new and best practices that anyone could refer to and also learn from, but also to address some misperceptions of the models and what are the current challenges at legal and political level to do that. How we did this was to 3 different appointments. And as mentioned, the approach is really to be as interactive, as colloquial as possible. And the Q&A, it's very important for us, and the inputs that you share with us through the Mentimeter really matter for us to collect the inputs and inform our next activities. And possibly what we would like to see is to follow up with a physical workshop and discussion out of these webinars to start being also more locally and active in the territory. So yeah, I will quickly hand over to Emir, and then we will get started.
Yes, thank you. Thank you all. Thank you all for being part of today's and all the Monday talk sessions that we had in the previous period, and for active participations throughout this entire webinar series. It has been a pleasure to share this space with such a motivated, engaged group of individuals, people who care deeply about the future of their communities and believe in practical solutions for positive change. In ALDA, we truly hope that all these discussions and sessions that we had have sparked maybe a little bit of new ideas and shown how cooperative entrepreneurship is not just a concept, but a real opportunity to strengthen communities, promote social inclusion, and drive sustainable development right here in the Western Balkans, a region where we feel that this is very, very important for us. These webinars organized together with our valued partners from Cooperatives Europe are as part of this broader COPs for Development initiatives, which through these sessions we highlighted the global role that cooperatives play in building a better future today. But these sessions were never just about the theory. They were designed to be practical, to be inspiring, and above all, focused on real opportunities for all of us, for all our organizations, and for all our communities. As many as you know, ALDA has been working for over 2 decades to support local democracy, empower citizens, and promote sustainable development, not only across the Western Balkans, but throughout Europe and its neighborhood. In line with our commitment to promoting sustainable economic development, empowering local communities, ALDA, how can I say, can be proud to organize this kind of series of Monday Talk webinars. The focus on cooperative entrepreneurship offers us not only practical tools for local economic resilience, but also a way to advance democratic values and inclusive development in the Western Balkans region. Throughout this session, participants had the opportunity to learn from successful European examples, explore concrete opportunities in areas such as agriculture, housing, and the others, to understand how to transform entrepreneurial ideas into cooperative ventures. For ALDA, being part of this initiative was both a natural step and strategic priority. As an organization dedicated to strengthening local democracy and to promote civic participation, we see cooperative entrepreneurship as a really practical tool of all our principles that we stay for. Cooperative empowerment of individuals to take firstly ownership of the economic future, promote social cohesion, and promote inclusive growth, all of which are central to ALDA's mission. I would like also to mention about one of our 7 thematic hubs, this territorial and local development hub that we have in ALDA, through which we implement our projects. A territorial and local development hub are the cornerstone of democracy, as we think, especially on a local level, because through this hub, we empower citizens to actively engage in decision-making process and to promote social cohesion and ensure better opportunities. By decentralizing power and promoting community involvement, local development strengthens the foundation of a thriving democratic society. Territorial and local development are the cornerstones of democracy, as they empower citizens to actively engage in the decision-making process. Our territorial and local development hub is crucial for a couple of reasons, I can say, like its empowerment, like better community engagement, economic growth through local development, which stimulates economic growth, which creates job opportunities, especially for young people, better living standards, reducing vulnerability through extremism, autocracy, and different how can I say, democratic things. It improves civic education, it improves conflict resolutions, and above all, it improves inclusivity, where local development addresses the inequalities firstly, ensuring marginalized groups have a voice, and that promote equal access to resources and equitable society. Our thematic hub on territorial and local development serve firstly as a knowledge nucleus, which promote collaboration, innovation, solutions for empowerment and thriving communities. Something interesting that I mentioned to my colleagues before, that in this period since we started with the webinars, North Macedonia Ministry for Agriculture officially started a project where in North Macedonia will be promoted this kind of cooperative. In this case, agriculture cooperatives. So the government in the next period will promote this kind of agriculture cooperatives for better agricultural development in our country. So this is one additional reason why we think that this was a perfect period for this kind of webinars. And at the end, let me thank you all for not just for attending, but for all your ideas, for commitment. In this way, we can only encourage ourselves to keep doing this, to keep exploring cooperative solutions, and to at the end to find maybe a better and easier ways for development of our society. I won't be long. That's all I would like to say.
Thank you, Emir. Also, thank you for making a recap and kind of setting the scene of how we went about and how our job, let's say, integrates and intersects. Just so very quickly, I would invite the audience to take a picture of this screenshot of the QR code to ask some teasing questions at the beginning. And then we will delve into the real webinar without further ado. I will let some time, and also you can find my colleague is going to put the link in the chat in case you want to access it directly through your laptop instead of the QR code. Okay. Seeing some first answers. The Balkans are there, so glad to see a full representation, but also from the EU countries in general and across Europe. Working in Belgium, we do share that as well, for the good and for the bad, I would say. Okay, I'm letting just a quick extra second because I see there are more people online who still haven't voted. Okay. This is always, it's not homework, but it's always to get a good perspective for all speakers to know where everyone comes from. Yeah, another one joined the Menti. Oh, Croatia as well. Okay. Okay, that gives a good picture. We can move on to the next question, which is how many Monday talks have you attended? So is this your first one or both of them? Okay. We got a few affectionate. That's good, but also newbies, which is also good. Okay, there was just like two quick questions. Okay, one, still give a few more seconds maybe. But okay, still a varied audience. Even always more challenging and beautiful as well. Okay, just sake of time, I'm gonna go back to the main presentation. Sorry again for this hop on, hop off screen sharing, but technology is never perfect. And I am going to quickly hand over to Emir again, just to put to do things on a shared basis to have a recap of what happened on webinar 2 for those who were not present or are new to our series today. Emir, you have the floor. Emir, can you hear us? Or maybe he has a connection issues. Oh.
Yeah, do you hear me now?
Yeah, now it's good.
Yeah, because I'm sorry, as I told you, some connection issues I have with the connection in my office.
No problem. Let me know if you prefer that I do a recap, but we hear you well now.
Yes, yes. That's hello, do you hear me?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, now it's better, yeah. Like I mentioned it a couple of minutes ago. That's how I mentioned that all the important things that we have discussed through the sessions and all the discussions that we have through this Monday's talks, as I said, I'm sure have sparked new ideas, have shown how cooperative entrepreneurships is not just a concept, but a real opportunity to strengthen communities, promote social inclusion, and drive sustainable development throughout Europe, and especially this can be useful in our region, in the Western Balkan regions. That these webinars that we have organized together with you, Annalisa, thank you very much, with Cooperatives Europe, are part of our broader vision that we have as ALDA, as someone who is working for over 20 years in supporting local democracy and local economic development in Europe, Western Balkans, and Eastern Partnership mostly, and in line with our deep commitment to promote sustainable economic development and empowering local communities. We as ALDA, as I say again, we're very proud to organize this kind of series of webinars. The focus on cooperative entrepreneurships offer us not only practical tools for local economic resilience, but also a way to advance democratic values and inclusive development as a whole process in the Western Balkan region. Throughout these sessions, participants had the opportunity to learn from successful European examples, explore concrete opportunities in areas such as I said, agriculture and different ways of cooperatives. And the most important, understand how to transform entrepreneurial ideas into cooperative ventures. From this, all your ideas that you have that you mentioned throughout these sessions, me and my colleagues at ALDA have noted. Maybe we can in the near future we'll develop some project applications that will come exactly from these ideas, and in the future I hope so. Also, we will be interconnected, and maybe you again can be part of one of the activities of ALDA. That's just shortly that I would like to mention. Thank you, Annalisa.
Yeah. Thank you. I mean, just so maybe as a follow-up to complement. So what will happen and what we like to do every time for the webinars is to invite two speakers that link the membership of Cooperatives Europe to like jointly advance activities in the Western Balkans. In the first webinar, which is not here, but I'm happy to share with you a bit, we had our board member from Mid Counties Cooperative, Vivian Woodell, also newly elected members of Cooperatives Europe, who was, let's say, succinct enough to, in a couple of minutes, to draw an historical line of the historical path of cooperatives and how they were set or reset, and what was the governance behind, and how it is evolved across time. And that was very interesting. And we coupled it with a presentation from our member of an energy community in Croatia, Zez, who is also a member of RESCOP, which is our European network of energy communities. And he shared concrete examples of an energy community in the Balkans. And I'm also happy today to have another representative of RESCOP who at the discussion stage will share with you also a concrete idea, a concrete way, to turn your idea into local impact, as the title of today's webinar refers. So we have already potential solutions and actions for you to implement. And linked to the second webinar, what happened was instead to have, again, a Balkan perspective. That was the title. We had the opportunity to have Alice from Partners Albania and Sasho from We Affect Europe, which is a Swedish development organization working on cooperative development in the Western Balkans. And what we faced what we addressed was really this legal environment. As you see the reference in the screen from to Albania. Now, Emir mentioned North Macedonia, but also we'll have some insights from our FAO representative today on legal challenges for cooperatives. But also we saw a little bit of hope and positive change in the Balkans, thanks to the role of youth and women and their active interest in putting themselves in the game as we speak, and work towards a strengthened cooperative movement. So by mentioning women, there are three amazing women and speakers for today's discussion, which now I'm very excited to introduce. There's not an order of discussion, but we're just gonna follow the order of the pictures. So our guests today are Anna, Viktorya, and Anna. And they both come from very different backgrounds and will give you very interesting insights. Anna will share with you the Balkan perspective, but also quite a European one linked to the EU on through the concept called the European Cooperative Society. But I will let her share upon that, and also her experiences across Serbia and Croatia. She will be followed by Viktorya, who is now a dear colleague and partner from the FAO Regional Office for Europe and Central Asia. And she will talk more about the FAO's approach to cooperative development with challenges and opportunities that they've been facing. And finally, last but not least, will be Anna. She's the president of the YCN, which is Cooperatives Europe Youth Cooperators Network. So she's the voice of the youth, but she will also share her experience herself as a young cooperator who decided to set up a cooperative and how it works, and also to be of inspiration and for future similar opportunities in the Balkans. So yeah, today's speakers, you have around 8 to 10 minutes max, just as a reminder. And yeah, Anna, the floor is yours.
Thanks a lot for the invitation. I'm really glad that we met a month ago at Rescope gathering in Krakow, and I got to know about these events. I would like to share a couple of slides. So someone has to give me permission. Okay. Just, okay, I think now it's full screen. Yes. So thanks for the introduction. I will briefly take you through the number of cooperatives that I'm part of and why I'm part of them, but also touch upon a history of cooperatives in the place where I'm just now sitting in the central Western Serbia. So maybe just to say, this first photo is made in front of a center for new cooperative housing that we have established in Belgrade almost 2 years ago, and I will come back to that a little bit later. In 2012, as a part of association Co-Gradi Grad, which means who builds the city, we started to develop alternatives to the real estate market in Serbia, and when started to search for legal forms that would be the best fitting the ideas that we had, we came across cooperatives as a legal form that would be suited to the ideas which we had. And the idea of the Co-Gradi Grad is to create the basis for affordable, non-speculative cooperative housing run by the future tenants themselves. And this idea is not our local, it's currently across Europe. And I would say since the global financial crisis in 2008, there has been a growing wave of new housing co-ops in places like Barcelona, which is spearheading this movement, also in Amsterdam, of course in Vienna, and a long history of housing cooperatives in Switzerland. And the cooperatives that I'm speaking about are the ones that are answering the housing crisis of today. They're first of all non-for-profit and without external investors. They are run collectively through collective ownership, cooperative ownership, excluding from the market. They're on one hand combination of people putting in their own investment, but also based on cost rental, which means that they are not owner of a particular part of the building in which they live, but they are collectively owner, and they pay through this cost rental their place, let's say, in the cooperative living, and of course collective management and shared spaces. Personal drive for me to be a member of 4 cooperatives on one hand started from this story of Co-Gradi Grad from somewhere 13-14 years ago. And in 2019, we have established Pametnije Zgrada, which means smarter building, which is pioneering housing cooperative in Belgrade. The first one established after 20 years of, let's say, this older type of cooperatives dying out slowly. And it brings together a group of people. Today we are 17 with the aim of starting a new way of housing cooperatives in Serbia and realizing the first demonstrative examples of housing cooperative projects. As I mentioned in the beginning, in 2023, as a line of these activities, Association Co-Gradi Grad and our cooperative, we started the Center for New Cooperative Housing, which has been super active last year. And the idea of it is to, on one hand, to accelerate, be accelerator and incubator of groups that want to practice new forms of cooperative housing. On the other hand, developing or actually using the tools that we have been developing through years and infrastructure and a place to build a cooperative ecosystem beyond housing. So the idea is to connect the different forms of urban cooperatives in Belgrade and beyond. And on the wave of these activities, in 2017, unofficially, in 2020 officially, we registered MOBA. MOBA in South Slavic languages is a word for collectively gathering, mainly in villages, to do a certain work like crops or finish a roof of someone's house, and it's based on volunteer work. And we thought that this name is perfectly fitting really for the idea that the group of pioneering housing cooperatives from Serbia, Croatia, Slovenia, Hungary, and Czechia had how to jointly establish and break through with the support of peer-to-peer and let's say, support each other in these pioneering steps of housing cooperative movement in our wider region. And one of the most important things that we are developing is a collective revolving fund, the MOBA accelerator, which is lack of institutional, but also banking sector recognizing potential of cooperative housing, bridge the gap and support the groups that are members of MOBA to do their first project. So far, there are 3 projects out of 7 organizations, which are 2 are already inhabited and 1 is soon going to go into reconstruction. And as Annalisa mentioned in the beginning, we are a European cooperative society, and we can maybe later on talk about it, which is a legal form which makes international cooperatives possible. I'm also part of Elektropionir, which is energy cooperatives based in Belgrade, but operates across Serbia. It is also a member of ResCoop EU, and its aim is to bring together cooperators to encourage changes in Serbia's energy mix and make clean solar electricity produced and controlled by citizens. And our first projects are here on these images in 2 villages on Stara Planina in the southeast, on close to the border with Bulgaria, in a villages that had a very persistent struggle against privatization of rivers for small hydro power plants. So we decided to do our first projects in support of these local communities, so that this renewable energy goes actually into their support and not to private hands. Just to mention, I'm also a member and not very active in it, but really important to know that there is Cooperative for Ethical Financing existing in Croatia, which has been established in 2014 to start a financial cooperative institution in our region and an ethical bank. And ZEF, as is the third name, the cooperative has been really very important for MOBA and for its ambition to set up this internal revolving fund. And I'm now at the moment sitting in the village of Donji Dubac, and these images which you see are from our family album in front of a house of Džokić Women Cooperative, which has been started in the late 50s and was initiated by my grandmother, Rajka Borević, whose name this cooperative carried also after she passed away. And this cooperative has been really very important for this village in the region of Džokić to emancipate and give economic independence to rural women through hand weaving at home. And at its peak, the cooperative gathered about 900 women from Džokić and its surroundings. It existed until 2010. And this building, which you saw in the previous images, is now falling apart. And really, there is a really need to somehow recuperate that cooperative history that has been very important for many parts of Serbia and former Yugoslavia. This cooperative, it says here, they called it WILD. it is because this cooperative didn't have any institutional support at the beginning. It really came as a bottom up, and only somewhere 10 years after it started to get support of local government, national government, etc. Its products were distributed throughout Europe. The women traveled to various places as part of this emancipation movement. And just a little bit of history of housing cooperatives in socialist Yugoslavia. At the start of 1960s, there were 1,400 housing cooperatives. It's important to know that these housing cooperatives were allowing to people to, after paying credit, get private ownership of these apartments, which is a difference to this new cooperative movement, which does not allow that for the purposes of speculation. And today we have a majority of 97% of or 80% of housing in Serbia is private. So what we are producing through this new wave of housing cooperatives is some kind of counter to that. And you can see here some figures: 5,000 to 8,000 apartments annually, about 10,000 family homes were built through cooperatives. For those who could not get to societal apartment at that time, the ones that were constructed through the official funds that were collected through workers' incomes, cooperatives built about 8% of total housing stock. They contributed also to the prevention of illegal construction, which was there because this other provision was not covering everyone. But since the 2000, they lost support and started to shutting down. And when we established in 2019 a housing cooperative in Belgrade, as I said, it was after 20 years of silence of housing cooperatives in Belgrade. And here are some example buildings of these cooperatives. This was housing cooperative called Belgrade, and what kind of things they were building. And my last slide. Today, we are in the 8th month of protests in Serbia, which are run by students, and the student movement is run through plenums at universities. Meanwhile, there are local assemblies or zborovi, which have been started by local people, and you see here one of them in a village not so far from here where I'm sitting now. And our view is that cooperatives are in the awakening of this democratic way of organizing of people in Serbia locally, really natural continuation beyond the protest and beyond, let's say, just countering the bad things that are happening around it, but they can be really a positive way of democratic organizing with an economic dimension. So that is what I share with you.
Thank you so much, Anna. And it's so interesting to get even new stories, not just history, but new stories actually from the region, and seeing that there's a good willingness of people to turn ideas into action. That's kind of, we go back to the title. And thank you so much for sharing also this cross-sectorial analysis and your personal also experience in putting and your effort and how it's been. I'm sure it hasn't been as easy as it looks through also the PowerPoint. So maybe in the discussion phase, we'll have the opportunity to discuss some of these challenges. Unless there's any burning questions or reaction from the audience, I will turn to Viktorya this time. So Viktorya, as introduced already, she's an international rural development specialist at FAO. She will be even the most appropriate to explain what she does in the mandate of FAO, and to also hear a little bit more about policy outlook with challenges and their personal experience in working with and on cooperatives in the region. Viktorya, please. We cannot hear you properly. It's quite blurred. A bit better, but still third.
Just a second. Sorry for this. Now,
Okay, better. We can make it work.
let me try another one. This one.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
goes.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay, sorry, apologies for this. Yeah, and thank you for the invitation and for being here. I was trying to also catch up listening the recordings of the previous webinars. It was very interesting, so I appreciate the invitation. Yeah, I would like also to, as you mentioned, I'm representing food and agriculture organizations, so my focus would be on the role of cooperatives in the agriculture sector and also perhaps what is the state of cooperatives in rural areas. It is not a secret that, rural areas are lagging behind. We're always speaking about the urban and rural divide. Problems such as underdeveloped infrastructure, poor connectivity, lack of healthcare and educational facilities, lack of public and sometimes even business services. These are quite common problems of rural areas in the Western Balkans, but also in the whole region that we work. So in this sense, the cooperatives seem even more instrumental now in ensuring the availability of many of these missing goods and services. And this is a typical theory of cooperative emergence, like why cooperatives emerge. This is to fill the gap that the state either couldn't fill or that it was not profitable enough for the businesses to invest. So specifically to the agriculture sector, of course, we speak here about the potential of cooperatives to ensure market access for small-scale producers, to give them the bargaining power, access to finance, input technologies, so all the things which are missing from the plate of small-scale farmers to be more profitable. But the situation is that in our reality, and especially in this part of the world, in the Balkans and in Central Asia region, where we also work a lot, we see that the situation is not straightforward. So although theory-wise all the prerequisites exist, the situation is that the cooperatives are still struggling to function, to exist. So there is a question, why is this happening? Yeah, what shall we do? Shall we preach that the cooperatives are the solution? Why people don't understand this? Or shall we, encourage establishment of as many cooperatives as possible, or what to do? And in this sense, like maybe 15, 20 years ago, or 10, 20, 15 years ago, there were a lot of support from the donors for the establishment of cooperatives in the agriculture sector, and they were viewed as a magic bullet for all the troubles. But this approach has created a lot of negative impact. No, instead of encouraging or keeping the cooperative way of business doing flourishing, they really harmed the sector. So and it created an emergence of cooperatives which ended up their existence after the funding has ended. But what we should recognize instead when we speak about the development or support to cooperatives in the rural areas and in agriculture sector is that we should recognize the history. First of all, the region underwent very specific path, and regardless the fact that the first cooperatives in the Western Balkans emerged at the same time as those in the nowadays in the countries which nowadays have a developed cooperative sector, still the countries in the Western Balkans, they underwent policies, like hectic policies, which have been tested in the first couple of decades in the former socialistic bloc, such as nationalization, then the fight with kulaks, then collectivization. So this all had a huge impact on the mentality. And I know you were already discussing this during the previous webinars, but just to mention the starting point. So there is a lack of social cohesion, there is a lack of trust towards each other, towards institutions. And in this context also, it's important to highlight that what is the perception of the terms ownership and common, no? They have changed because of all these historical experiences. And I think most of you are familiar with the phrase that what is common, that is no one's. So we have to have this in mind when we work on cooperative development in the region. And what is also important that it is not this, so this perception is not only on the side of rural population, but this perception is also among policymakers, because everyone was part of the process. So within this setting, we end up with the typical issues that hinder the cooperative development: misconception and misinterpretation of the term cooperative. As I said, both on the side of people who want to form a cooperative, but also from the side of the policymakers. So the most extreme cases of misinterpretation of the term is that 2-3 investors pool money together and register a cooperative, which is providing services to their clients who are farmers. But when you ask, like, what is the difference between you and the other business entities, then it appears that the only difference is the form of registration and perhaps the easier administration of the cooperative company, let's say. The second issue is the policies, as I mentioned, policy and legal framework, which is the one of the most important things. We see that in some cases, cooperatives are recognized as the ways to strengthen rural economies, but this is remaining only as a declaration, no specific actions are being undertaken. On the other hand, we see that the member benefit nature is ignored. Very often, cooperatives are either treated as pure for-profit organizations, or the legal field is under-regulated, creating these so-called fake cooperatives. Another important issue is the lack of awareness about the principles of cooperatives, of what does it mean to be a cooperative. And as I mentioned before, this is true both at the level of decision makers and at the level of population, because I am reading laws on cooperatives which are using the very specific terms for cooperatives, for example, surplus. But then when you read the definition, this is completely different thing. This has nothing to do with the idea of surplus. I would like also to highlight about the importance of having skilled and dedicated, genuine leadership for the formation of cooperatives. This is especially a big problem in the region, in the rural areas, which are suffering from their human capacity is shrinking because of out-migration. And this is especially sad in case of young people, because we see that more and more young people are leaving rural areas and do not want to return back. So when we think about the establishment of cooperatives or supporting cooperative development in agriculture or in rural areas, then we really should recognize that there is a limited capacity of leaders who would take this responsibility to organize people, to lead the process. I would like also to share a recent example from Western Balkans, where we're implementing a project which is about empowering rural women. And specifically agriculture producers. One of the focuses is to bring women farmers together. And for this, when we were designing the project, we thought, no, we shouldn't repeat the previous mistakes. So we should focus only on the technical assistance. So to focus on awareness raising and technical assistance purely, so to form this collaboration or cooperatives purely based on common interests. So without promising any assets, any financial resources, just based on the common interest. This was not easy. And especially, let me also highlight, it was not easy to explain the process also to our national counterpart, because for them it was strange. We wouldn't, achieve anything if we don't promise. We cannot go to meet the farmer and say that let's have some joint activity, but this is, just we will do maybe a bit of trainings to you, and that's it. We are not giving you any tangible assets. So this was perceived with a lot of doubt also from our national counterpart. But what we did, that we dedicated more than 1 year just to select. So we were working in several regions. So we selected specific value chains in each of these regions. Then we organized individual meetings to talk with small or big producers, with women producers specifically, and to form kind of an interest group based on these individual discussions. Then we brought them to one room to discuss whether any of these common challenges can be solved through joint action. The key challenge was also during individual meetings, like many women were quite positive to join some kind of common platform, because during the discussion, we were not offering any specific type of organization. We're just saying that let's see what are the key issues and what would be the best organizational form to help you to solve the issue. So the key challenge, one of the first challenges was that after this long preparation phase, I would say, when we had the database of women who were positive to this idea, then not many of them came to the first joint meeting. So either this was explained that they don't have time to come, or because some people even directly, they mentioned that because they don't have interest. As I mentioned, it was specifically communicated to them that there wouldn't be any material assistance, let's say. So this is, again, we go back to the recent history where the funds were flushing to support the cooperative creation, and people are nowadays, they used to this approach. So as a result, in one geographical region, we had more than 50 women who were potentially interested. We ended up, 10, 15 who came to the first joint meeting, and around 7 who continued their involvement in the next meetings. And during the next meetings, we were mostly focusing on discussing how to operationalize the cooperation. What would be the best organizational form? What should be the action points? Who is ready to take the responsibility? And it is interesting to mention that in some cases, women who came or who ended up to be in this core group, let's say, they were already members or even leaders of other cooperatives, but still they saw the value that a new partnership can bring to them. So this was mostly related to exchange of information, meaning it would be knowledge, it would be marketing opportunities, or information about new funding opportunities or the new measures that the government is offering. So so this was the, let's say, most commonly selected areas of these newly formed collaboration platforms, let me say. So the work is still continuing, and women decided that as of now, they don't want to formalize it. They want to start as an informal group. There is an online platform, a Viber group where they added up all their friends, not friends, but the same people involved in the same value chain, where they discuss as I mentioned, the common opportunities. There is, I don't know, someone has a big order, so who has additional amount of tomatoes, let's say, because there is a big order and they need to fulfill it. So this is the ongoing process which we have, and this is the first results of what we ended up without giving any financial support to see whether it is really possible to kind of break the pattern and to really focus on the pure nature of cooperative way of business. Yeah, and I'm hopeful that we will, until we still have half a year to finish the operation, and I'm hopeful that these structures would really be sustainable, because in reality we just brought people together. We showed them what are the common things that they can do without any financial support, no, only based on a goodwill and a dedication. So let's see. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Viktorya. It's very, very interesting. Thank you also for being honest about exactly what doesn't work and what still should be improved. And I was while I was hearing you, I was thinking about Anna's presentation as well. And I hope we have the opportunity soon now to kind of reflect and compare the two interventions and kind of get insights from one another. And I really personally enjoyed how you concluded this presentation, also focusing on this new approach that you've had in project implementation to really also revive and push on the cooperative principles and cooperative values before anything else. So really to focus on the social cohesion mandate that these enterprises have, and to focus on the spirit and the willingness, the same that I saw in Anna's presentation, Anna's history. So that was very good, and thank you for bringing this example. So I'll let now Anna, our young and committed cooperator, talking about committed leadership and effort, take the floor, and please be as brief, as structured as possible, just because I'm seeing that we're a little bit behind the schedule, and I want to make sure that we also hear from Chris in the discussion, but that we also have a discussion among us, because there's been some key insights. Thank you, Anna. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Annalisa. I will try to calm down my Italian attitude to speak a lot. So thank you very much for the invitation. It's so good to hear these experiences. It's always fun and interesting to match experiences all above Europe. And mine is coming from a very small co-op. And I will give some context, because as you heard before, it's very useful to understand why a co-op is born in a particular context, and why are the needs that kind of co-op try to face. So my co-op is called Tatabox, and is a social co-op that works with university students. I try to be very brief on this. Social co-op in Italy is a non-profit enterprise. So it works as an actual non-profit group organization, but still it's an enterprise. What this means? It means that our aim is to ensure good and decent job, but still serving a community. And that logic and that service approach is very important. So what we actually do day by day is trying to help young people and young students find solution for their everyday life. So mainly we run this places called co-studying. So try to imagine the co-working approach and shifted, anticipated at the university time. We provide them places to meet, to study, to exchange experiences and emotions, because obviously it's an intensive time. It's a very important period in your personal life, your university years. So to have a space where you can share not only your profession, but even your struggle, your anxiety, your problems is very important. And it's very important to feel part of a community. This maybe sound strange to your experience, but you have to consider that in my hometown, we have a particular demography. We are the oldest city in Europe. This means that to be young here is to be part of a minority. So that feeling part of a community is key. It's key to try to keep those energy, those skills, ability, knowledge in our city, because we have migration, a lot of migration from especially university students abroad, because obviously this is a huge problem. It's a huge problem in all Italy. We know it. Annalisa and Paola are a very good example about this. But in my hometown, in my region, is increasing. So this is what we are trying to do, and how we do it is very easy to understand. What kind of effect our job has today and in the years. We started this journey in 2016, so it's about 9 years now that we are working, and we try to serve a very large community in years. So we approach 60,000 people approximately. So a very large amount of people we didn't expect to manage and to achieve this. And as I said, our aim is to have young people more involved day by day. So as you can understand easily, since it's 9 years now, we change. And when I say we change, I mean we as members, there's 4 of us. And when we started this journey, we were in our late 20s. I was 26, and now I'm not 26 anymore. So this obviously put us in a position to think about intergenerational change. Because when we talk about youth, obviously that kind of change is a shorter in time, comparing it to the normal situation you have in a company. So what we are trying to work today on is a slightly shift and change on how we approach students and how we involve them. So we are trying to give them the chance to become members of the co-op, and so becoming a student co-op. This will completely change our governance, our approach to projects. But this is very important, because obviously when you create a co-op, as Anna told us very clearly, is to last. Obviously, from your grandmother to you, there are 3 generations, and this is the aim of each one co-op that is created. So how this started, and so how we became a co-op. This is and I hope this is a nice experience to bring to the discussion, because when we started, as I said, we were very young, and we were in that gray zone. We were not anymore students, but not that kind of workers, very stable and satisfied about our life. So we decided to read the context, to put in practice what we already know, because obviously as students, we know what the young people had to face at that time in our own town. So we simply present a project for a call for project, and proposed by Lega Coop, one of our national association, and obviously it's easy to understand how it went. So we went through a 3 months trainings, and at that time I realized that I didn't know yet, but I was already cooperator. What does it mean? It means that I had those values, those approach, and even those desire expectations from life that a co-op work can give you. And this is very important, because I think that as far as I experienced today, at the beginning of the journey, it doesn't matter more what a co-op is on a formal side. So obviously it's important to understand legally what a cooperative is in your country. Okay, but what brings you to the cooperative choice are the values, the personal histories of people that helps you connect with the movement, their emotions and their motivation. In mine, what I was looking for, I learned this from an English cooperator. I was looking for a job that fits my soul. This means that in my everyday life, what I want to achieve is to have a job that somehow affects life, everyday life of people, even if in a very small and simple way. We have to think about the kind of impact we can have, even with small step, with small changes in everyday life of our community. And I want to be practical, so I want to be effective. I want to do simple things, but do them with a meaning. That was the most powerful fuel that I had in those days, and still keep me on track today. So what is very hard to understand, and what I think is probably our strength and our weakness is this kind of approach. Because as we usually say, we have to keep in mind that ours is a business model. We run enterprises. This is very important. I stated at the beginning, mine, Tatabox, is a social cooperative, so a non-profit enterprise. But our aim is to provide jobs, to provide solutions to people's needs. This is a very important. So we need to have this in mind clearly. But how we are different from profit businesses. This is something that in my experience in years, and in my experience as a representative, I feel as the main struggle we have. Because obviously you have to understand what does mean to become a member, how you can be an active member when you are a worker, working in a very small co-op and working in a very large co-op. We have huge cooperatives in Europe, but we have 4 members community as mine. So how you approach your cooperative life as a, please don't misjudge, as a simple worker or as a manager. So this kind of awareness, the awareness you can develop and you can try to nurture in your life is in your working life is key to help people understand, okay, to translate in practice the cooperative movement, and to keep people, that's the most important part, that we are different. So that's mine. Thank you, Annalisa.
Thank you so much, Anna. And there's such a push for positivity and commitment. We always know it's a pleasure to work with Anna, but also with Viktorya and Anna. And thank you so much to the 3 of you really for these inputs, and it's a spark of positivity. I hope that the very high quality of these interventions, not because I'm biased, but I think objectively I've learned a lot. Even working on this can win us some extra 5 minutes because I see that the schedule is a bit tight. So I hope you hold with us. And yeah, it's I again, as I said after Viktorya, but seeing common points and common objectives and common approaches, even though the experience and backgrounds are very different, is very rewarding. It kind of shows also globally, and that's a key message that we try to communicate through Cooperatives Europe, is really that no matter where you're based, the cooperative values tie us all across our partners and across our members, and that's wonderful to see it in practice. So I would like to open the floor quickly for the discussion and also for questions from the audience, to collect some questions, and if you have any also curiosity or let's say contributions, and then to specific link to Rescop, since Anna also mentioned she's member. I believe we also have our representative from Rescop online to give you also yet another, let's say, quick way of putting ideas into practice across the region, and kind of following up to what Viktorya and Anna, in the case of the region, have been discussing, on this new wave of commitment of this new cooperativism in the region. So yeah, any brave discussant or some questions from any of you? Or reaction, just comments to the youth perspective, the regional perspective, and the institutional perspective. And I also see Chris is connected. So yeah, feel free to think of questions or comments, Chris. Otherwise, I can give you 3, 4, or 5 minutes. Can you do that?
It will take
present
2.
the initiative.
It
Awesome.
will take 2. Yeah. Hi everyone. I'm Chris. I'm the financing policy officer at Rescop EU, the European Federation of Energy Communities. I will very quickly tell you about a concrete funding instrument that was just launched by the European Commission to fund energy communities in the Western Balkans. I will connect it actually with the speakers' presentations, because I think almost everyone spoke about the need for financing, especially for the earlier risky stages of developing a business plan for an energy community. But also, the importance of like ongoing technical assistance and capacity building. And both of these elements are found in this project. I will literally just share one slide just for you to visualize what this looks like. 1 second. It's here. So it's called Better Cohesion in the Western Balkans through the Development of Energy Communities. It's going to run until the end of October 2026. It targets all countries in the Western Balkans except Kosovo. So Serbia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Montenegro, Albania, and North Macedonia. And it's funded by DG Regio, implemented by the Emilia-Romagna region of Italy with the support of Rescop. And literally concluding this 2-minute intervention to say that 10 lighthouse communities, so 2 per Western Balkan 5, will receive up to 200,000 euros, tailored technical assistance and support. And the idea is to come up with a community energy project, acknowledging that the legal framework for energy communities is not super well developed in all of those countries. There's going to be a negotiation period with a lot of flexibility, together with the Emilia-Romagna region, to really come up with what is best suited for each individual country. So it doesn't have to be that by the end of the project you put up solar panels. It can also just be that you put a community of practice together, you have a statute, you may create a new legal entity. So yeah, it doesn't just have to be about really implementing the whole project, considering again the regulatory dynamics. Happy to follow up with any questions or an email. But yeah, I think and I hope that this is a concrete opportunity that some people here can take advantage of. Cheers.
Thank you so much, Chris. Very stick to the time. Appreciate that. Happy also. I mean, we followed up already with Chris, let's say before this meeting. So this was a concrete, let's say, live platform also because we kind of wanted to have concrete examples that bring with the title and also with this the story that we built across these 3 webinars. But of course, we're gonna share the details of this initiative also across our platform, and happy also through ALDA and the network. So, and again, if Chris, you agree, I can share your contact also in our recap. So if you have any also follow up and you think about it, you can always go back. But it's this is again another concrete opportunities that links to the EU, but also opens up to the region and kind of wants to keep the momentum and build further the momentum of cooperative entrepreneurship and community entrepreneurship in the region. So thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, I want to go back to the floor. Also, I mean, from our audience, yes, if you want to share any views or reaction or just comments out of your personal experience, doesn't have to be linked to the presentation. We also, as we did in our past webinars, we use the occasion for hearing new stories. Or otherwise, among the 3 speakers, Anna or Viktorya, if you want to, let's say, react to one another, was interesting. Yeah, exactly. And okay, you go directly. Perfect.
Thanks a lot, Viktorya and Anna. It was really super to hear your stories. I wanted to connect to both. First to Viktorya's about difficulties in rural areas. Completely understand the issues that you came across. I just wanted to connect to this story of my grandmother and work here. So she was not from this village. She was by chance spent her Second World War years here in this village, and in that way she built connection with these people. Then she came after the Second World War, and she spent 4 years, 4 winters running courses for women here. She had to go door by door to persuade each of the families for doing this. And after these 4 years, then they started to think of what would be economic model for them to emancipate. It took 10 years until they established cooperatives. So 1 year, 1.5 years is really very short time for some substantial engagement. And especially if you come as someone external. So that connects also to this, what you said, that there is really need for someone that would take a lead and pull things locally. And maybe the most important thing then is to recognize who are these people that can do that. Or from my perspective, actually all the stories that I told about, all the cooperatives that I'm part of didn't start from funding. They started from people that had an urge to do something, we had ideas, and none of these cooperatives had money, and bit by bit we then got some finance. We're still all struggling with all of these cooperatives very much with funding and are on the edge of survival. But it connects also to Anna's story about the value that people have and how they see their own life. And I can really say that people that are part of these cooperatives are people that have similar values and believe in similar things. And that is what connects us. It's not the financial gain or financial reason. So yeah, I think it's difficult if you come as an external organization to connect if there are no these people directly who can be leads. That's what I mean, that is a feeling which I had when I was listening to the story.
Yeah, the communal values are key, and it's in a way what it seems to advocate, it's a member-led business model for a reason. It responds to the context, it responds to the needs, and it arises from the needs of these people. I mean, what Viktorya was saying was also interesting on how it shifted from the donor perspective, because at some point the risk was when you involve donors, and so not necessarily just policymakers, you risk that this becomes a top-down approach. But top-down, it means it's set with rules and aspirations of people who are not then concerned by the community, and it just goes completely against the mandate and the rush of cooperatives. So what we really want to, it's why we did these webinars, and Mir was also mentioning this, was really because it wasn't, you know, to promote the model per se, but just to really involve in a common reflection of what are the values and how these values and this attitude that Anna was mentioning, you know, she realized she was a cooperator just when she was presented with the values. It's this kind of cooperative education, if we want, that we also want to promote as a reflection that we already have the tools, and these tools as people could be already turned into practice. I don't know if there's any final or comment, reaction, reflection from the audience. While you think about it, I will share quickly once again the screen. If you can go back to the Mentimeter, you should have already it open in your phones or laptops from earlier. If not, you can see the screen and the website and the code. And this is just as an open answer to what would you like to see next? Also, hearing from the different stories from Anna, Viktorya, Anna, and Chris as well, in terms of opportunities. And also for those who followed multiple webinars, it's the first step to collect some inputs on what would you like to see as next steps? What would you like to see Cooperatives Europe and ALDA keep doing together? If, you know, it's other webinars like this, if it's workshops, if it's paper research, something that you can, anything you can think of that could be useful to your work, but also to your interests, partnerships, networking. Yeah, can be really anything. So I would warmly invite to, okay, people already starting, so that I will give you some last silent minutes to reflect. And we'll be able to then do our own work in summer and come back in September with new initiatives.
Yeah, Annalisa, I would like also to mention about the policy paper level. So all participants here, that they think it's something crucial, something very important. Doesn't matter on legal framework in their specific country or something that's connected about the situation of the cooperatives and what should be made better on a regional level in the Western Balkan, on a specific country in the Western Balkan region. We will be really happy to create policy papers about this issue and to disseminate it with our partners, in the European Commission, our members that are local authorities throughout the Western Balkans, and with our partners throughout the region. So this is something I think so that's really important as a follow-up of this Monday talks, and maybe the participants can give some contribution in this part, some inputs. So what's the most important things or challenges that we should mention in these policy papers? Thank you.
Thank you, Amir. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of good insights coming up, so that's okay. There's a lot of emphasis on case studies and concrete examples, so we'll also try to put into paper the different case studies that we heard throughout the webinars and add more. How to overcome challenges, so that's also good. In-person workshop. Okay. Success stories from COP beneficiaries. Okay. Awareness raising materials. Perfect. it's all good insights, because it's more to some of these questions we can really also rely on our network of members who are active across Europe, not only in the European Union, and then more globally as part of International Cooperative Alliance, so also in other continents, to share these tools. Some of them are already developed. Of course, there's always the contextual component. So it's also important that we get insights from many of you who also mentioned are based in the Western Balkans to better understand the context as well. Okay, also I see opportunities to support. Of course, this webinar it's an example of partnerships, but we're also open for new partnerships and collaboration. To just give maybe as part of final remarks also the format of COPS for Dev. It's a grant awarded by the European Commission to Cooperatives Europe to design and implement with like-minded partners activities that can strengthen the cooperative movement. And this goes exactly from capacity building to awareness raising, like this webinar, but also research. So we're always on the hunt for partners who want to strengthen this dialogue, and our focus has been on the Western Balkans and Eastern Europe, and hence today. So we will share, I think we have a good overview. Thank you so much for those who participated, and we're going to share the results also of the webinar. Thank you so much for being part of this journey that started in mid-May. So now it's been quite a month and a half. And thank you for the active participation. I hope you find all the speakers interesting, and the speakers have found each other also a good learning opportunity. We will follow up by mail. We're going to share our contacts, so feel free also to comment with inputs and also advice, feedback on the whole series, but in general on anything that we could do better and we could do together, because that's the most important side of it. So yeah, I wish you a happy and productive week ahead, hopefully sunny. Thank you so much to Anna, and Viktorya for your participation, and see you soon online or maybe in person, as someone suggested. So take care, and thank you to ALDA for this amazing adventure. Oh, maybe before leaving, if we can take a picture, if you agree on turning your camera on before I let everyone, so we can take this live screenshot as digital, and if not, keep it off. Okay, Paola, can I ask you maybe to do the screenshot if you can? Okay.
Okay, I can. So get ready. Cheese. I hope it's good. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.